Let's check in with the doc and look at things with a wider lens. Pastor Richards on OMG.
Good morning, Pastor.
Hey, good morning, Danielle. I trust you're having a good day.
Yes, how are you?
Doing contemplative, but doing great. This morning.
What was that?
Contemplative in this kind of cool mornings. I don't know, the kind of mood you think through things. I haven't had that much in terms of interruptions here this morning. Just one or two, not really interruptions, but having outside of the routine. But so I had a little chance to get my coffee going, oatmeal stuff here, and then I didn't hear my drop. What's happened to the old drops?
Okay, we are going through some ID changes, which includes the drops as well. So they are making sure that they're done properly and done well, so that when they bring them,
usual boom quality, you're saying, right? Usual boom quality. Usual boom.
So please bear with the guys as they sort that out.
Okay. Yeah.
We apologize.
All right. I was waiting around for it. I didn't hear it. I'm like, well.
I know. But I did explain yesterday. But I will continue to explain until we actually get them.
In my contemplation this morning, you know what, I came to the conclusion. I'm actually concerned we are not on a path. When I say we as a nation, I don't know that I feel currently that we are on a path towards healing as a nation. In our spirit, our communities, our sense of oneness, and unity as Vincentians, I don't know that I get a good, strong sense that there is that.
You feel like there's division?
Yeah. I mean, I almost said duh. I feel I listen to people talk. You watch the rhetoric on Facebook. You listen to one Vincentian talk about another Vincentian, and it is definitely not something that is healthy. Our look, our sense of value of one another. I don't get the sense that we, as a nation, we are all rallying behind each other and pushing. Something is happening that is not healthy. I mean this when I say it, okay? Some might like it, some might like the energy, some might like the verve, some might like the bacchanal. All I am saying from my perspective, something is happening to our nation that is not healthy. In fact, there is a sense of toxicity in what I am hearing and what I am seeing. And I don't see any, on the horizon, any alleviation. And politics, I think, would be a big part of this. But
because I was going to ask you, what do you think drives this?
The culpability for all of this is not solely politics, but politics has become that kind of catalyst. That's really what it is. Politics is a catalyst through which all of these other aspects of our toxic humanity finds something to coalesce around and spin off. And politics is a really good vehicle for venting some of the things that are really wrong with our humanity. And that's why you see this contemporary version of democracy. I say contemporary as opposed to, okay, for example, if you read stuff about the Greek Senate and how they did democracy back then, for somebody who is not familiar, I'm talking double Dutch, so let me just back away from that. But democracy was not always exercised in the way it is being exercised today. And what is contemporary in our democracy? I'll give you an example in a bit, but our contemporary democracy, Daniel, cultivates division. I think it has morphed in a way. For example, the discourses that you would have and the dialectic that you used to have, let us say with the Senate, the Roman Senate, the dialectic that you would have, and even in Greece, the dialectic, the conversations, the back and forth you'll have working your way, evolving towards something that was better for the state. There was a sense of state. And the divisions and the separations and the differences and the opposition basically played themselves out in a dialectic, in a conversation that not devolved into some morass of debauchery, but a conversation that evolved into something that was higher and better for the state. And that's where dialectic is supposed to work. Even with opposing views, the opposing views work as a catalyst to help a higher ideal to emerge. So in that kind of democracy, a higher ideal was always emerging. Compare that to the contemporary democracy, in which rather than an evolution of ideals, you have a devolution, which is a downward spiral into what I call the morass of debauchery, cultivating divisions and toxicity. I watched an ad, for example, last night. I was watching CNN, and an ad came on from a political party, and because elections are coming up in the USA, and I looked at that ad, and I'm like, this is our current version, because it's not isolated to the United States. This is our current version of what democracy produces. The ad basically was some granny at home, an older lady, octogenarian or beyond, certainly between 80 and 90 years of age by appearances. She's at home, alone, struggling in the dark, and she's hearing a noise outside. She's panicking. She's very, very afraid, visibly. The ad was very well produced. There's a hand. You can't tell the race. I'll come to that in a bit. You can't tell the race of the intruder, I think, if I could recall. There's a hand breaking in, there's a crowbar, there's prying, there's a noise, and she's trying to call the police, but she's not getting through. She's vulnerable. The ad plays like a movie. She's vulnerable. Eventually, the attacker is able to come into the home. There's the culmination of that ad leaves the viewer wondering what happened to that old lady, what harm she encountered. Basically, the message that is being sent by that ad is that a particular party promotes a particular, for example, right now we are in the emergence, I say, of Black Lives Matter, the protests and all of that, the defund the police, and that ad sells the idea that your grandmother is vulnerable. Your grandmother will be brutalized, beaten, attacked if you put one particular party in power. That ad is not based on anything factual, but that ad drives fear into a particular segment. That ad sells and promotes fear, irrational fear, mind you. It makes you think of a given party and advocates of that party in a particular light. See them as people who don't care about senior citizens, who leave your citizens vulnerable, etc., etc. The entire message of that ad was toxic and divisive, and I shook my head and I was very disillusioned. I'm like, this is what comes with democracy. The current version of democracy definitely, invariably cultivates, it thrives, it cannot succeed without cultivation of division and toxicity. And that is why I am disenchanted with modern politics and how we're going in democracy. More of a push is being made in politics to stoke the things that are our angst, to stoke division, to create this mood and atmosphere of divisiveness. Our current forms of democracy and politics in our parts and other parts breed toxicity and seemingly cannot succeed without sowing this toxin of divisiveness throughout our society. And I think that the people who get on these political bandwagons because they are very attractive. They stoke a lot of energy, toxicity and hatred and divisiveness, mind you. for all the debauchery that's inherent, they actually bring tremendous amount of energy that you don't get even at a football game. You don't get it out of cricket. You definitely don't get it from a beach picnic or something. They are loaded. They are dripping with energy, but it's a toxic kind of energy. You're not going to find me jumping up on these kind of things, of course, Daniel. These things are designed to stoke division, and people are looking now. People en masse are following. They are going to sign on. There are these unofficial surrogates. You're not even a party person, but you get on Facebook as if your livelihood depends, maybe it does, on these parties. And waves and waves and waves of people self-identify in our context, self-identify as yellow or red. Nobody asks them to, but they self-identify and begin also to become a part of this stoking of division and divisiveness, of toxicity, of narratives that are generally destructive. And people look to these political parties, whether it is the ULP or the NDP, they look to these political parties for fixing what ails our nation. And the irony of that is it just can't work. The very thing that you're looking to be your savior, to bring our nation to this sense of good national health, these are the very entities that are pushing our nation on this path of division and toxicity. So, yes, I'm a little bit disenchanted with the thing, Daniel. That's a long commentary to say what I had to say. You say, well, what direction can we look in? I am really... Look, if you ask me, I will do my duty as a patriotic Vincentian, and I will vote. I will vote. But you're not going to get me clamoring and carrying on and up behind one party or the other. I would criticize both parties. I will. And having criticized both of them, I will go and vote for one of them. I will laud both parties because there will be some things and candidates and ideas and stuff that are laudable. I will laud both parties, but I will go and vote for one of them. If I see things that I need to speak out, I will. And the very party that I am speaking out against, I will go and vote. Some of the things I will say publicly, some of the angst that I have, I will say publicly because they might deserve public attention. Some of the things that I see either with the candidates or with the party, I might choose to say privately. When I say privately, directly to the ear that needs to hear it. And there's a place for that too. Not everything that I am against with the ULP or with the NDP, I am necessarily going to come out on radio and say it. You have to be wise, and there are some things that require discretion and how you deal with it. The Bible teaches that not everything you go public first. So some of my criticism that I think will be instructive to the nation, regardless of which, but I will bring criticism that I think will be instructive to the nation. Say, yeah, I'm saying this and I'm saying that. But there are other things. The fact that you might not hear me say it doesn't mean that I'm not working on it or addressing it. Some things, you seek to address privately, and I do have an ear, here and there, where I can say something that it is heard. And I will go and vote for one of them. So that is executing my democratic right, but as also as a patriotic Vincentian, doing what I need to do. But I don't think, and I don't want to promote this sense of casting yourself and self-identifying yourself. I am Labour, I am Red, I am NDP, I am Yellow. As if your life, as if the fate of St. Vincent, as if our healing and our health as a nation depends on whether, it's red or whether it's yellow. Inconsequential. We are looking in the wrong direction. Let us not lose sight of the fact that the very thing that we are looking for to heal us and looking towards to heal us might very well be the thing that is creating the division and the split and the bleeding. So you ask me, what can we look to? And I think our sense of community is one of the things that has been viciously destroyed through our modern politics, our sense of oneness within our community. And they're agents and organizations, not political figures. Political figures are not coalescing figures. They don't know how to collaborate generally. So the strong political figures are not going to be your agents of healing within our community. The others, among the top agents that will create this kind of social healing, I will have to say it is the religious leaders within, and this is why I would keep saying to religious leaders, don't get yourself embroiled in partisanship and partisan politics, because you lose your integrity when you identify so brazenly and defend so brazenly one party or the other. You are supposed to be this coalescing agent of healing for your community, whether red, yellow, black, or white, especially red, yellow, can look to you as a neutral, impartial figure. And I really do think that the religious leaders are key and very instrumental. And in this area of divisiveness, the religious leaders have to emerge as primary agents of social reconciliation and community healing. Which, given that kind of role, we cannot afford to let ourselves be colored. I think I'll stop there.
All right, Pastor, thanks so much. Okay, we hope you have a good day.
Thank you, bye.
Let's check in with the doc and look at things with a wider lens. Pastor Richards on OMG.